All right, we're back with another Pick'em video. It is Wednesday, April 23rd in the NBA. Obviously, a little change of scenery. You took yesterday off to kind of recalculate how I want to be making these bets, and I feel like I was going a little bit too heavy in terms of the amount of bets I was going to. A lot of overs and things like that, which is fine if you attack the right spots, but not everyone's going to get their overs in terms of playoff games. And again, we were attacking a little bit too much stuff. So we'll probably still mention a couple other players that I'm thinking about and things like that. But again, really going to try to focus in on the official plays for today and see how that goes for us. Because the recap, I think we're another 2 and 3 day. After a 3 and 2 day, we're very 50-50. I want to be a little bit better than that. So I've really honed in. So if that sounds cool, we're definitely going to go into things. We're going to go over the injury news, if there's any. We're going to talk about projected minutes, and then we'll actually start talking about some plays. Going to skip the recap in this one, or maybe I'll just show it really quick just because it was 2 days ago now, and just want to really focus on the games for today, and hopefully we get some good reads. All right, so quickly going over the video picks from 2 days ago. Again, no video yesterday, trying to really lock it in, and we had a really good day in terms of the video overall, so hopefully you guys found some winners in that one. Unfortunately, for the official video picks, we go to Cade Cunningham, great read, Mikal Bridges on the bounce back, great read, and then we have Jalen Duren under 10.5 rebounds. Isaiah Stewart ends up being ruled out. Jalen Duren ends up playing 37 minutes in a game. I'm pretty sure he was a -12 in a win. He was definitely in the minus category, in the plus-minus. He doesn't belong in the court and the series because of just how he plays and how the Knicks are playing right now. Give me more Paul Reed over Jalen Duren. And, of course, I think he grabs 12 rebounds in that game. Ton of minutes in a matchup that I don't think he is thriving in. So if he gets that line again, or maybe even 11.5, I think is what it went to when Isaiah Stewart came onto the injury report, then yeah, we'd probably attack that under once again. Then we go to James Harden over 14.5 rebounds and assists. He doesn't get there. Maybe the bad read of the day. And then Russell Westbrook hooks us on the 19.5 PRA line. So very, very 50-50 again for the video picks. So we're batting 50%. I'm trying to dial things back, really reassess what we got going on here, trying to lock in for today. And that's what we're looking into for today's video. And I know I just said I wasn't going to do a full recap. That was hopefully an expedited version, but that's part of what we do on this channel. I think that's one of the reasons that this channel is interesting, because I'm very transparent. I'm not saying that we win every single day. Very transparent, and we're pretty successful over the long run of things. So let's start talking about some projections and injuries and news and anything like that. So the big one in the first slate here is going to be Orlando and Boston. This is a 10.5 point spread. I am a Celtics fan, and I'd honestly give Orlando 10 points. I'm not going to say this Orlando's going to come in here and win the game, but I'd probably give them 10 points. So if you want like a spread lean, I'd probably lean Orlando plus 10.5 here, assuming Tatum's not going to play. He's doubtful right now. He's got that wrist bone bruise, so I don't expect him to be out there, especially with the Celtics being up 1-0 in this series. We'll see what they can do without Tatum on the court, without risking any sort of aggravating that injury or whatever it might be. So projected minutes for the Celtics, we're going to see some guys off the bench. Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, 25 projected minutes in this one. Very interesting, tougher matchup for him, but interesting if he can get hot. And the Celtics, off guys or role players were banging down threes. Peyton Pritchard had a great game. Derek White, I'm not really calling him a role player, but he kind of is like the best role player out there pretty much. But he's going to be a little bit more involved in terms of handling the ball and things like that. Going to have to create a little bit more of his shots without Tatum on the floor. But he's projected for a lot of minutes. Jrue Holiday, you got to remember Jaylen Brown has not been playing a ton of minutes, so they're going to ease up on him if they can. And he just hasn't looked amazing. I really think I'd have a good read in this Celtics game. We're going to be going to one of these players, but here's the projected minutes. Wanted to point that out, and of course the injury news to Tatum. Then for Orlando Magic, we got no injury news. A bunch of minutes for Paolo and Franz. They're going to do the absolute bulk of the scoring. We're going to get chipped in points from some of these bench players, but you never know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Corey Joseph randomly playing way more minutes than any of these other guys and pretty much putting up a goose egg in terms of stats, or is it going to be lean a little bit more on Anthony Black, lean a little bit more on Cole Anthony, whatever it might be? Whoever's playing well is going to get the time, and it's a little bit harder to predict these bench players for Orlando. It's going to be very top-heavy with Paolo and Franz and what they're going to be able to do here against this Celtics defense. Then we got Miami and Cleveland. No Kevin Love, no Terry Rozier for the Miami side of things. Nothing too crazy. We know Tyler Hero, Bam, Wiggins are going to get as much time in the court as they can handle. Kel'el Ware, I don't really love his matchup in this series, which is kind of weird. He's the big guy going up against two big guys, but he's kind of been outplayed, and we got pretty good minutes from Alec Burks last time. Davion Mitchell's been a beast on offensive side and defensive side. He's been chipping in with a lot of assists, been able to go over a scoring line, so he's someone I'm always considering. Haywood Highsmith is playing himself back into the rotation here, projected for 30 minutes, and he's looked pretty good. And then you guys got like Duncan Robinson. He can shoot himself into more minutes throughout the game. Kyle Anderson, another guy that's a little bit more of a vet if they're going to need something to be more reliant on. If they need some quick offense, I don't know if you can give slow-mo, quick offense, but if you need some veteran status on the court, good ball player, good IQ, you might go to lean on a guy like Kyle Anderson. Then you got Cleveland, no injuries on the slate here for them. Donovan Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, these guys are going to play as much minutes as they can without going too crazy if it turns out into a blowout situation. We saw that kind of similarly. Darius Garland only gets 31 minutes in a 21-point win, or whatever the score was. They won by like 20 or something, and they're not going to run these guys into the ground unless they have to. Mobley, kind of interesting, not an amazing matchup for him going up against Bam. Then you guys got like Jarrett Allen down there who's going to do his thing. Someone I'm really looking at is kind of similar to the player we went to the other day. Who was it? Mikal Bridges. We went to Mikal Bridges after a bad game. I'm really looking at DeAndre Hunter here. They traded for this guy. He's a offensive player, sure, but he's really more of a defensive player. That's something you always want in terms of the playoffs here. So if he's shooting well and can get some points, I expect him to get a little bit more minutes. Ty Jerome was obviously insane that last game. He's been really, really good. If you're the other side of the court here, if you're the Miami side of things, you're probably going to be looking at, hey, Ty Jerome can do what he wants, and we're not going to let Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland kill us, or Evan Mobley, whatever it might be. But at the same time, you got to have a little bit more eyes. He's probably popping up a little bit more on the scouting report here, which maybe more opens up opportunities for a guy like DeAndre Hunter. So definitely something we're talking about there. Then we got Houston and Golden State. Could be the game of the night, I would assume. With the injury to Tatum, it could be interesting in this Boston Celtics and the Orlando game. But this should be game of the night. Obviously, the Houston Rockets are the higher seed. Golden State favored to win this series, and they did come out with a win in Game 1. But Ime Udoka is a good coach. We had him in the Celtics. I know Ime Udoka very well, and he saw what he's done with this Houston defense. They're not, in my mind, they can't let Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler win this series for them. They're going to make these other guys try to beat them. Podziemski, Moses Moody, even Draymond Green, they'll give them open shots, and then you're going to need some other guys on the bench to really step up. And Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler had great games in that first one. I think it's going to be a little bit harder for this defense to stop Jimmy Butler, just the way he attacks. He's very much more aggressive, can get to the free throw line. Steph Curry, they do have a lot of long defenders that they can throw at Steph Curry, and he wasn't even getting amazing looks in that first game. He's just Steph Curry and was able to hit a lot of crazy shots, shot a very good percentage. Someone I might be looking at fading today would be someone like Steph Curry here. Then on the Houston side of things, we got no Jayshawn Tate, which is kind of big here. Nothing too crazy. You're going to get more of these 8-man rotations in the playoffs like this. Someone I'm interested in is Jabari Smith Jr. If you want to go to any overs, this is a very low point total. You saw the defensive battle these two teams had in that first game. Everyone was calling it like a 90s game. It was like 85-95, very low scoring game. We could see something very similar to that because we got two good defenses, but we're going to get a lot of minutes from Fred VanVleet. We're going to get Sengun, who played actually pretty well in that one. Amin Thompson, a little bit harder for him to get some points in this one with that defense down low. They don't allow a whole lot of stuff down low, but that is mostly the centers. If you can get some transition points, that could be interesting. Jalen Green is someone that does not have a great matchup in this series. We saw him be very limited throughout the entire season against Golden State. Someone I'm definitely consider fading. And then again, you got some guys off the bench. Steven Adams, very interesting to me. He actually played pretty well in those 20 minutes. He's the biggest guy in the court, and that's something you can say about the Golden State Warriors. They do defend the paint very well, but they're also lacking a lot of size. So a veteran guy like Steven Adams coming in there playing some decent minutes. I don't know if I'm going to trust him to score the ball, consistently, but I think he could definitely go out there, grab some rebounds, maybe chip him with an assist or two, and get over that RA line or something. So that's what we got going on for the slate. Again, very much looked into all these series, what they did in Game 1, what they did throughout the season, where I'm expecting to, I guess actually was a basketball coach, but I'm not an NBA coach. I don't know exactly what these schemes are going to look like, but I can kind of get an idea of how they might pivot and adjust to these Game 2s. And then quickly before we actually hop into the plays, I do want to shout out RotoWire. I've been with them for a while. You see it every single video that I go to them. They're my go-to spot for like projected minutes, expected lineups, and things like that. They've been in the game for a very long time, and they also do have a picks tool here. So I kind of use it as an auxiliary tool. You can find it like as a starting point, but it's very much integrated with a lot of different websites. So if I'm going to PrizePicks right now and want to look at the entire board, this is all sports. So basketball, they got esports in here, Valorant, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, they got MMA, soccer. They have projections for a lot of these different things, and you can just sort by like the best prediction, which is based on EV, where other books have their lines. So Haywood Highsmith right now is at 5.5, is at 6.5 on Underdog. Sportsbooks, two books got him at 6.5. Then they got their own projections baked in here. They have the hit rates baked in here, so you can very much see, okay, based on EV, based on their predictions, based on the hit rates, all put together, where the best lines as of right now. I know they're constantly working on this and trying to upgrade it, but definitely check it out. It's a very good tool. I do want to say I don't usually just go to the top plays and just go blindly off that, but if this is a very good starting point situation. Maybe like, hey, maybe I want to look at Haywood Highsmith. Hey, maybe I want to look at Sam Hauser a little bit more, and come and get plays from there. And again, having Counter-Strike, having MMA, having soccer, having these sports that I'm a little bit less knowledgeable in, very, very nice to have this as an auxiliary tool to look at, hey, what are they thinking on this side of things? So if you want to check out RotoWire, there's going to be a link in the description down below. It is a 2-day free trial, and then you also get 25% off your first purchase using my code RichPicks. So definitely something to check out. It is something I use every single day, and very excited to see what they come up with over the next few months as they continue to improve this thing. So now let's hop into Props Madness like we always do. If you want to check out Props Madness, if you're watching this video and you're like, damn, I got to try this thing out. It has so much information, which it does. Use my link in the description down below. It's code RICH. You get 25% off your first month and your first year, and you also get a 7-day free trial to actually check it out if you want to just do that for 7 days free. No harm, no foul. So let's hop into the first play here, and it is going to be Jrue Holiday over his 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So I'm going to try to go through how I got to this play and why I think Jrue is the best spot here for the Celtics. That's not meaning I don't think Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Derek White, any of these guys are going to have big games. I just think Drue's lines, I think we're getting the best value on it. So only a 31% hit rate. Obviously, you're probably like, that doesn't look amazing, but this is Jrue Holiday. He's a very veteran type guy. He's an older guy now, and he steps up in the playoffs. He also plays a lot more minutes in the playoffs. So what we got going on is no Jason Tatum in this one. So without Jason Tatum, obviously this looks a whole lot better. 5 of 6 games, he's over this. That's good to see. Has to step up in certain situations. Jrue Holiday can still do that. Now, why do I think Jrue Holiday might have a little bit of a scoring boost in this one? Well, Jaylen Brown is somewhat injured. His points lines was at 22.5. It's down to 21.5 on some books now. He just hasn't been playing a ton of minutes. I don't think they're going to try to run him into the ground. I don't know if we can expect 35 plus minutes from Jaylen Brown, as he's been getting consistently less than that. They're thinking about ahead of this series. They're not, trying to injure Jaylen Brown in terms of that knee. He's definitely been hobbled. He hasn't been scoring very well, and he's also got a very difficult matchup to score the ball today with what the Magic can throw at them. That doesn't mean I don't think Jaylen Brown could have a good game. I just think Jrue Holiday has a little bit more better opportunity here in the instance that the defense is probably going to be honed in on Jaylen Brown. They're going to be honed in on a Porzingis. Derek White crushed him in that first game. They're going to be honed in on him. Maybe even Peyton Pritchard gets on the scouting report higher than a guy like Jrue Holiday. So with all these guys with difficult matchups, this is a great defense overall. You see what Jaylen Brown's been doing here. Not very good in the past few games. Head-to-head, he has gone over in one of these games, 35-point game against them. That was actually a game without Jason Tatum. But on the other side of things, we didn't see Franz Wagner on the team. We didn't see Paolo Banchero play that game. So it was a much different situation here. So I love all these guys. Porzingis, also a difficult matchup. I just really think they're going to be honed in on a lot of these other guys before they're honed in on Jrue Holiday. And maybe they say, hey, well, let Jrue Holiday cook if you can. And we know that he's still capable of doing this when he needs to. In the playoffs last year, you can see the hit rate in the playoffs. These are all playoff games. He was very, very much more active, playing a lot more minutes. And in so far this season, if we give the minutes boost to him, he's projected for 35 minutes or something, maybe even more than that today. I already had it pulled up. 35 plus minutes in this one. If it's going to stay close, I think we're going to say maybe even more from him. Jrue Holiday in 4 plus minutes or whatever it is. Now it's a 58% hit rate, a little bit better. Actually, PRA, still 58% hit rate, a little bit better. Again, you get Tatum out of the lineup here. He's only gone over this in one game, 26 PRA, and that was a regular season game in March against the Nets. So playoff type guy, Jrue Holiday, I think is my guy today. The last thing I'll point to here is, again, going to the PRA, only gone over in one of the 3 games so far. This was game 1. This was that 17 PRA game. He shot efficiently like he usually does, but only 6 times. The shot volume definitely goes up without Tatum on the floor. Then you look at the rebounds here, 3 rebounds in that game, but 8 rebound chances. And then you look at the assists, 5 assists on 8 potential assists. So was definitely active and was able to do a little bit more. Take Jason Tatum off the floor. Think about the defense really honing in on some of these other guys. And that leaves Jrue, I think, for the best spot here to really crush his lines, hopefully. And then quickly talking about the Magic side of things, it's very, very top heavy here in terms of the scoring. Paolo and Franz, I think, are going to get the bulk of the shots. We saw how many shots? 27 shots from Paolo in game 1. We shot 24 shots from Franz in game 1. I think maybe the Celtics go, hey, we got to limit Paolo at least a little bit here. Maybe they hone in on him a little bit more. They have got a lot of defensive bodies that they can throw at him. Without Jason Tatum, their defense definitely takes a hit, but they got a lot of guys that can step up. So Franz at 22.5 is something I'm considering a little bit. You could probably chip in with his rebounds as well. Didn't rebound very well in that first game, only 8 potential rebounds in that game as well. But points and rebounds for someone that's going to get a whole lot of time in the court, something I'm definitely considering. Looks like he got over in the one game back on April 9th. That didn't really matter. He only played 26 minutes in that game. So something I'm considering, but nothing I'm too excited about. And then for the bench guys, it's so hard to predict who's going to get the minutes on the floor for the Orlando Magic. It's offense is hard to come by from this team with a lot of these guys on the bench, and it's also minutes. It's very, very confusing of who's who's going to get the time, especially here in the playoffs. Next guy I'm focusing in on here is going to be DeAndre Hunter. I'm just going to a scoring line, which is sitting at 8.5. Obviously, if you look at the entire season, people are probably like, this is the easiest over ever. If you're someone looking at the first game, you're like, this is the stupidest bet ever. 16 minutes only, shot 0-4 in that matchup, and we also saw Ty Jerome have an absolute game. Now I think this is a perfect opportunity to go to a guy like DeAndre Hunter. Again, a defensive type player, someone you could always throw in the court, especially the playoffs, and someone that can contribute on offense. This is why they went out there and got him. I don't think they went out here and traded for him to play 16 minutes once again off the bench. Now, I will say his projected minutes are somewhere similar. I think they're at 19 right now for his projected minutes, but he's definitely someone that can stay on the court because of his defensive abilities, and that's going to in turn be more opportunity for him to score the ball, which again, he can do as well. So if they're limiting Ty Jerome, if they actually focus in on Ty Jerome just a little bit, it's a Miami Heat defense that's very, very solid, and Ty Jerome killed these guys in that first game. They got to be taking advantage, or they got to be focusing in on Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Ty Jerome. That opens up doors for guys like DeAndre Hunter, especially after such a bad game. I think we're getting a nice discount on his line here. So looks like it's jumping to 8.5, 9.5. I was looking at this at 8.5 all morning, still available on a bunch of different books at 8.5. I'd probably take this at 9.5 as well, but he's played these guys 3 times. He's had 26 points in one game. He had 16 points in one game. That was when he was actually on the Cavs too. And then of course this goose egg that they just put up. But again, I think we're getting a discount here. You look at games that he's playing, even just in those 17 to 21 minutes, or 22 minutes or whatever. This is the games that the projected minutes is right at 19 minutes. He doesn't need much time to score some points. He's over this 14.7 average in terms of the game so far, this one, and over in 9 of 10 of these games. The only game he missed, he shot 2 of 6. Sure, the volume wasn't there, but he's still getting over in this many minutes. That's awesome to see. I think he could play much more minutes if he plays himself onto the court a little bit more, and maybe Ty Jerome's struggling and not scoring 28 points and having an absolute explosion here. So DeAndre Hunter, I think, could absolutely get some more time on the floor. He doesn't have a horrible matchup to score the ball. Not, again, a lot of people are going to have amazing matchups in this one because a lot of good defenses are in the playoffs, but spot-up shooting may be one of the weaknesses of this Miami Heat defense, and they're ranked 17th there. Similar types of players kind of going over their lines, especially to end the season here. A guy like a Jabari Smith, DeAndre Hunter himself has been playing pretty well against this team. And again, the best thing I like about this is he could, I think, get more and more minutes in this game or in this series as it goes on if he plays a little bit better. And he's also been doing this in that amount of time that he's been getting. So again, 16 minutes in that first game. I think that's a very much a floor for what this guy can get. 17, 22 minutes, he's still over this in 9 to 10. So really, really liking the pivot here. DeAndre Hunter, bounce back spot, very similar to what we did to Mikal Bridges in that game 2 for the Knicks series. And he had a great game in that game too. So hopefully Hunter comes in there, shows why they traded for him, and has a good one for us. And then for some of these other players in this game, I don't know if they're going to be official plays here. I do like one of them a decent amount. Donovan Mitchell obviously very much steps up in the playoffs, had 30 points in that first game. Again, nothing crazy in terms of his defensive matchup here. It's a pretty tough matchup for a lot of these different players, but he's been playing pretty well against his team, 50-50 hit rate. Nothing I'm too crazy about. You can look at assists, you can look at rebounds. It's all very, very locked in on these lines for these top-end guys. Darius Garland, awesome 3 last games, but wasn't as efficient, or I guess not as efficient, not as consistent as going over his scoring line in the last coming months. Again, a playoff-type guy. I think he could absolutely step up. Only played 31 minutes, drops at 27 points. But again, he probably has that Davion Mitchell assignment and sees a lot of a really good defender on him. Evan Mobley, not a very good matchup for him, honestly, and didn't play very good in the game 1. So someone I was considering fading. But going really to the other side of the floor here, looking at guys like Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo, I landed on Andrew Wiggins, and I like his opportunity to score the basketball in the first quarter here. Did score 8 points in that first quarter in game 1, played 11 minutes. You can see in the games playing with Tyler Hero here, he's over in 63% of games, and again, was dealing with an injury right here, so that lull here, he wasn't getting many minutes in that first quarter, 7 minutes here, 6 minutes here, 8 minutes here, then he saw 10 minutes here, 9 minutes here, 11 minutes here, and then back when he was healthy again, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes. He's very, very rarely going under the 7-minute mark. Now we're in the playoffs. He's got 11 minutes in the first quarter last time. I don't expect anything too crazy to change. So if he's going to see 9+ minutes in these first quarters, he's over this in 6 of 8 games. He's also played this team 3 times so far this season. Obviously on the Warriors, he played 7 minutes again on the Warriors against this team. Went up and had 7 points. He played 8 minutes, he got 5 points. He played 11 minutes in the playoff game on a different team here, he scored 8 points. So very consistent, someone I was absolutely looking into, and he might find his way onto the official plays here. Just someone I was wanted to point out. Davion Mitchell, another guy that I'm very much looking into. He's just been so consistent, literally so consistent in terms of his scoring. He lands on 11 or 12 like almost every single game, but he's played a ton of minutes. He's been playing a lot of these minutes. These are all play-in playoff games. How about 33 minutes, 40 minutes, and 34 minutes? If this one can stay close, I like his ability to stay on the floor. He's been not very good against this team overall. In terms of assists and rebounds, I think he's been a little bit better, I guess. And again, these are games that he's actually playing a decent amount of time. These are only 25 or less minutes. He's expected for 35 minutes in this game. If he's going to get that much time on the floor, again, I'll probably go to the PRA for a guy like him. If he's going to get 30-plus minutes on the floor, over this in 50% of games, again, he's on a new team here, so you put Tyler Hero in the equation, over this in 62% of games, and he's really stepped up in the playoffs because of his ability on defense, but he's also been assisting the ball pretty well. So points and assists, I think PRA is probably the best way to go here. Something I was thinking about. Now moving into the last game of the night here, could be the game of the night as well. Warriors, Rockets, and I'll start with Alperen and Sengun. I'll probably talk about a lot of players in this one, to be totally honest, and then at the end, I will recap the players I'm actually going to, but I want to give you guys as much information as possible like I typically do here. But Sengun had a really good game overall, scored very well. They lost by 10 points. He played 36 minutes. He shot efficiently, shot a decent amount of times. He was able to rebound, not extremely well, but has rebounded pretty well in this matchup so far. And this team gives up a lot of rebounds to centers. We know that. 80% of the last 15 centers are going over their lines against this team. So Sengun, definitely someone I was interested in. I don't know if we can expect 2 really good games from him in a row, but he was really good in that first game, and maybe we see a little bit more scoring in this one. I'm not totally sure. Someone a little bit more excited about is fading Jalen Green. Now, you can find his 18.5 points line pretty much everywhere as well. So like 18.5 for minus 115, very, very normal. And yeah, the last 4 games, he's been absolutely horrendous. 31 minutes in this one, not much minutes in these last few games. But this is the playoffs, and Jalen Green, I don't know if he's a playoff type player. Super streaky. You know, he goes on these absolute tears, and he also goes on these very, very bad shooting streaks. And this is a defense that actually is horrible for him. A lot of scoring inside, 31% of his scoring comes inside. They're ranked number 1 in there. 42% of his shots come above the break threes. That ranked number 8 there. Pick and roll ball handling, transition, they're able to limit that stuff as well. So Jalen Green, really tough spot here. He was able to creep over this line and won these games against them. That was a game they won by 10. 34 minutes in that game as well, but the 5 other games he was not even really close to this line at all. So a guy that maybe the defense is locked in on, a guy like that is very streaky obviously and can shoot himself into a 30-35 point game, but at the same time he sometimes just doesn't shoot well at all, like we saw in that game 1. 3 of 15, didn't get to the free throw line much, didn't hit a single 3. I don't know if we can expect 5 points or whatever he had, 7 points again, but under 18.5 is definitely something I'm considering. Fred VanVleet, another guy with a difficult matchup here, has not been scoring very well, but he's a little bit more veteranship and can step up in the playoffs, I think. Maybe more of a Jrue Holiday type guy, but he's also got a very difficult matchup here. Move along to Jabari Smith Jr. Now I saw this at 9.5. It looks like 9.5 is still readily available. This is actually someone I'm considering. He's projected for a decent amount of minutes, played pretty well in that first matchup. Similar types of players that score similar to him, so like a Michael Porter Jr., a Keegan Murray, a Corey Kispert, these big wings that can shoot the ball and also like grab rebounds and things like that. Spot up shooting, they're ranked 25th there, so the Warriors won that first game. They're going to let Jabari Smith Jr. and these guys shoot if they want to, and they're going to limit the other stuff. So played 25 minutes, shot 3 of 3, didn't miss a single shot, got to the free throw line, so he was very efficient, but again, very, very low scoring game, hard to get to an over, but if I was considering an over, I think it would be Jabari Smith Jr. in a pretty good matchup here. And again, played pretty well in the minutes he got on the court. Definitely can lose some minutes to some of these other guys, but we got no Jayshawn Tate to kind of rival him in this one. 24 plus minutes I think is pretty normal here, over this in 79% of games, and also the matchup against this team. He's played very well in all 5 of the games so far this year. I guess 4 out of the 5 games, and really crushed this line in a lot of these. So 25 minutes, 27 minutes, sure his minutes are down a little bit at this point in the season, but someone I was considering. If you want to get to an over, I think Jabari Smith Jr. is a pretty good spot here, and I think I was looking at his rebounds too. Yeah, points and rebounds, maybe even the better move here. Wherever you find points and rebounds, points, I think Jabari is actually in a really good spot here. Last guy I want to mention is going to be Steven Adams. He actually played really well in this matchup. Again, big man against this team. If something the Warriors give up, it's the lack of size they got going on. Similar types of players are going over their scoring lines, but I'd probably be looking at his rebounds and assist line at 8.5 here for Steven Adams. He had 13 in game 1. He played 20 minutes. He expected to play very similar to that today. And on the time in the court, you'd think he was like an even plus-minus in the game they lost by 10, which is pretty good overall. So maybe we see a little bit more Steven Adams. Again, we're going to talk about it a lot. A veteran-type guy that's been around the block, has seen a lot of different types of games. And similar types of players by position, centers, going over the rebounds and assist line a pretty decent amount of times. Sengun didn't get there, but we did see Steven Adams do that, and he crushed this line. He's played these guys 3 times so far this year. He's gone over in 3 of the 4 matchups, which is good to see. He did creep over with 9 in a few of these games and only played 6 minutes in one of them, but he got a lot of time in the court. If he's going to get 17 plus minutes, or 17 to 21 minutes is probably what I'll get to. So he's projected for 19, I think. We'll go to 17 to 21 minutes. He's over this in 90% of games. So give Steven Adams some time on the floor. Played pretty well in that first game, and we'll see what he can do. I think I really like this line at 8.5 for Steven Adams. And then finally moving to the Golden State Warriors side of things, I don't know if I'm stupid here. This is Steph Curry in the playoffs, but I like his under, 26.5 points. Kind of similarly to going to a guy like Anthony Edwards' under. This Rockets team is a very good defense, and they know they can't let Steph and Jimmy Butler bully them and win this series for them. They're going to make Brandon Bajemski be a better scorer. They're going to make Moses Moody. They're going to leave Draymond Green wide open. They're going to make some of these other guys off the bench actually try to score the ball. And it's hard to get to some overs, so like a Brandon Bajemski at 12.5, a Moses Moody. Some of these guys are interesting to look at in terms of their overs, but it might be such a low-scoring game. Maybe the best move is just to go to Steph Curry's under 26.5 points here. So taking a look at the way he scores his points, they're ranked 29th in terms of pick-and-roll ball handling defense. That's only 17% of his points, but it's good to know that they're really bad at defending this, and that could sound like a good thing for a guy like Steph Curry. They're very good at defending spot-up shooting, but they just lost game 1, and we've seen a lot of these teams that are like this flip the script in the playoffs. So I think something like that happens today. I think Steph Curry has, a lot that he can handle in terms of defensive schemes attacked at him, and it's going to be hard for him to score. Maybe he gets some assists. Maybe Jimmy Butler can still do his thing, because actually his matchup looks a little bit more consistent in the way he can take advantage of it, get to the free throw line and things like that. But for Steph Curry, I think it's a difficult one for him. I'm fading a guy that's really good in the playoffs and really good overall. But the defensive scheme for the Houston Rockets, I know they're going to be focusing in on him. And even though they're focused in the first game, he shot and made really, really crazy shots. Can we expect that again? 63% shooting on that much volume? I don't know. That's hard to ask for. And if that analysis on Steph makes a little bit more sense, I think a Brandon Bajemski kind of combo with that, points and rebounds, could be a good look if they're really focusing on some of these main guys, like a Steph Curry. Brandon Bajemski is going to have to be the main guy to step up. Maybe they're a little bit worse in terms of spot-up shooting, where they really, really lock in on, and they're going to be focused on those pick-and-roll ball handlers a little bit more, which leaves open spots for Brandon Bajemski. Should get a lot of time in the court, is able to also rebound the ball extremely well. So points and rebounds line here at 18.5. Definitely something I'm considering for Brandon Bajemski. And then again, Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, we've seen him be amazing. And if they're limiting Steph Curry, someone's got to do the scoring. 22.5 points for Jimmy Butler. Going to get a ton of time in the court. He could also be something to look at. All right, so a quick recap of what we talked about in this one. I went to 5 official plays. We talked about more than that like we typically do. So if you missed any of that, go back and watch the video. You'll be able to see all the different things we talked on this one. For Jrue Holiday, over 20.5 PRA. DeAndre Hunter, 8.5 points. Bounce back spot for him. Steven Adams, over 8.5 rebounds and assists. Jabari Smith Jr., over 9.5 points. And then Steph Curry, under his 26.5 points. Got to fade someone, and that's crazy. It's going to be Steph Curry. And watch, I've already mentioned this in my Discord. He's going to go for 50 now that I'm just trying to fade him here. So that's the 5 official video picks. Hopefully we locked in, took a day off, really stepped back. I was looking at some players for yesterday's videos, yesterday's video before I ended up not posting one. And guys that I was really expected to play really well. Bobby Portis was someone that really stepped up, because I saw Brook Lopez was kind of in no man's land. He can't really keep up with this Pacers team. He played really well. The Lakers in a spot to win this game. That looked like a no-brainer to me. So I was seeing the board a little bit more better when I was taking a step back and not trying to attack as many players as possible. So hopefully we get some better results in today's video and start a little run here in the playoffs. So that will do it. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets today. If you're interested in getting access to all my plays, definitely check out the links in the description down below. Plenty of different ways to get in for free. Just read the video description. Underdog's giving us boosts and everything every day. They also give you a free square as a new user and a deposit match. So definitely check out them. Code RichPicks. Check out PrizePicks. Check out Chalkboard. Check out Dabble. Check out Sleeper. Any of those different platforms are going to get you a free month. When you do sign up using my code, just make sure you get a screenshot of it with my code in use, and then comment something down below. Say, hey, use your code. I'd like to get into the Discord for a free month. Or just use the Discord link in the description down below. That will get you access to the free part of the Discord, and then you can hit me up in the general chat or a DM or whatever and just say, hey, I use your code. Can I get in for that free month? And I'll go ahead and get you that access. So that'll do it for me. Good luck with all your bets today. Let's get some good basketball to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.